Can you believe we're almost in December? Doesn't seem long ago since we're celebrating New Year. Now another year has flown by. And with any new month, I have a TBR to be read. The books I'd like to read in the month of December. My name is Jim. This is my channel, Books, Reading and Stuff. I have 12 books on my December TBR, which may be a little ambitious. For my Goodreads target, I only need to read another 6 books. My target for the year was 72 books, and I've finished 66, so that's fine. Don't have to worry about that. Not that I'm too worried about it, whether I hit it or I miss it. It's not that important, really. Let's look at the books. Firstly, I got Barnaby Rudge, which I've been reading since October. I've read 206 pages of the 648 pages of Barnaby Rudge. This is part of my ongoing project to read all of Dickens' novels. After Barnaby Rudge, there's only Nicholas Nickleby left for me to read of his completed novels. I'm enjoying it so far, but it's slow going. There's no need for rushing it, but I'd like to finish it in December. Another book I'd like to finish in December is this, Deda, Mama, Bavshvi, Das Sadguru Mankana. That's obviously not in English. This is a Georgian title, Mother, Father, 8 children and a truck. It's a Norwegian book by Ana-Cath Vestly, translated into Georgian. The age range is 7 to 9, which is, I want to read one book in Georgian this year. I tried some other books, but the books in Georgian have too many, the books by Georgian authors have too many idioms and very long sentences. This is slightly easier, but I'm still struggling. I'm just over halfway through, but I want to finish that this month. Next, I'm excited about Margaret Pinard's new book that comes out on the 30th of November, Orla, Rafferty Seeks Her Fortune. Margaret Pinard, as many of you know, is a booktuber. You can check out her channel. I'll put a link in the show notes below. This is a historical fiction. Orla, Rafferty Seeks Her Fortune is about a young widow in the 1830s in the UK who is facing adversity and how she deals with that. I don't know much else about it. I have read 4 books by Margaret Pinard previously, including the Remnant series, the first of which was The Keening, about a family that emigrate from Scotland to Nova Scotia in Canada and their difficulties, and I gave that a 5-star rating. I can link to my review here. Then I have a contemporary romance, Beach Read by Emily Henry. I had this on my November TBR, I didn't get to it then. I read an e-arc of a contemporary romance, Not in My Book by Katie Holt. I wanted to try out the genre. I wasn't sure if I'd like it, and I liked Katie Holt's book, so I want to read some more to see if it's just a one-off or whether I can dig this genre. Beach Read is quite similar to Not in My Book in that it's about 2 authors. And Not in My Book comes out on December the 10th. This has been out for a long time. Emily Henry is one of the leading sellers of contemporary romance, and this is a close proximity romance, and I'm sure there'll be lots of the usual romantic tropes in here. Then I have The Big Green Tent by Ludmila Ulitskaya, a Russian writer. This is about 3 dissidents in Moscow in the 1950s, just after Stalin's death. They're creative types. There's a photographer, a pianist, and a poet, and it's about their lives. I'll tell you more when I read it. And then Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. I've read Lacuna by Barbara Kingsolver. I've also read the Poisonwood Bible. Demon Copperhead has won many prizes, including the Goodreads Prize for Fiction in 2022, and I think it was joint winner of the Pulitzer Prize as well. This is taking the story of David Copperfield and reimagining it in the Appalachian area of America. And I've heard great things about this book, and I'm keen to read it. Then Burning Bright by Tracy Chevalier. I read Remarkable Creatures by her, about the fossil hunters in Lyme Regis in the early 19th century. This is about William Blake at the end of the 18th century and two children who make his acquaintance and how it influences his poetry. Then some fantasy, Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. I enjoyed The Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I'm not sure about Six of Crows because I hear it ends on a cliffhanger because it's part of a duology. So does that commit me to reading the second book in a duology? One of the reasons I tend to steer clear of fantasy is I don't want to be committed to any series. I like books which can stand alone. And some more historical fiction with Imperium by Robert Harris, which is the story of Cicero told by his secretary. Again, I've read one book by Robert Harris. I've read Pompeii about the aqueducts and the engineer that was involved with the aqueducts. So another book I'm looking forward to. Then I have The Glass Hotel by Emily St. John Mandel. I've read a couple of books by her. I read Station 11, a post-pandemic read set in Canada about a group who have survived a pandemic that was 99% fatal. But The Glass Hotel is not about the pandemic. It's about a Ponzi scheme and about a mysterious disappearance. How she weaves those together, I don't know. I'll find out soon. 1984. This will be a reread for me by George Orwell. Sales of this rocketed the last time Trump was elected, and I think they'll probably do the same again now, along with Margaret Atwood's The Handmaid's Tale. Something about the Trump presidency makes us think of dystopias, classic dystopias at that. It's a long time since I read 1984, but I can still remember a lot of it quite vividly. It left a very strong impression. And I afterwards read most of George Orwell's novels. I read Coming Up for Air and Keep the Aspidistra Flying, along with Down and Out in Paris and London, and a lot of his other works. And finally, the 12th book is this, The Bullet That Missed. This is a mystery by Richard Osman. I've been watching Richard Osman's podcast, which he does with Marina Hyde, called This Is Entertainment. And I'm really enjoying the podcast. I don't know what he's like as a writer, but I've heard good things about his series. It's about these old people solving murders, a Thursday Murder Club or something. And yeah, so I have a lot of reading for December. Let me know in the comments if you've read any of these, or let me know what you're reading in December. If you like this video, then give it a thumbs up. This will help me with the YouTube algorithm, and I shall see you on the next video. Goodbye.